I got Nintendo's new GameCube controller, specifically designed for the Switch 2 and its GameCube NSO capabilities. Today, I want to talk about my first impressions with this console, how it exceeded my expectations instantly, and why I don't think I'm ever going to be using a normal GameCube controller ever again. I don't want to waste anybody's time, and immediately get into what matters most, the feel of the controller. And I found the best way that I can demonstrate that is with Smash Ultimate, my favorite video game ever! How does the controller feel in my hands? Well, after using like over 100 GameCube controllers in my 10-year career of being a pro Smash player, I can tell you the controller feels how it should exactly immediately. It feels a little lighter, a little bit more than a normal GameCube controller, and that's likely due to there being no rumble pack, but in my hands it feels great. I'm able to instantly do all my Diddy Kong tech with barely any prep, and it feels so nice. So talking about the build quality a little bit more specifically, I'll go over the face of the button real fast. The stick feels exactly like a normal GameCube controller does, and I'm very particular about sticks. It doesn't feel like a third-party like stick at all. It feels completely OEM and almost like the Smash 4 or Smash Ultimate GameCube controllers that Nintendo made, except even better. In terms of the buttons, they feel a lot more tactile than you would expect, and have a very close feeling to a normal GameCube controller as well. Same with the C-Stick. The start button also functions exactly how you would expect. And really notably, the D-pad feels extremely tactile. I could see people actually using the D-pad for games that they wouldn't before, considering the GameCube controller before had a very notoriously bad D-pad. When you get to the top of the console though, you do see some differences. Right away, you'll notice that there are 4 different buttons with this controller. You have the home button, the C button, which brings up game chat. You have the capture button, and you also have the sync button as well. On top, you can also see very clearly that the LEDs display the exact player port that you're on. And as I showed off a little earlier, you do have the USB-C charging port on top as well, which will light up that little orange dot to indicate that the controller is charging. Some people have been asking me if it has a headphone jack, considering that the new Switch 2 Pro controller actually does have a headphone jack at the bottom. Unfortunately, it does not. You also have this new, very hard to see small button here, which does have a niche case, which I'll show in a little bit. Going back to the game, you have your classic triggers, which are analog triggers like some GameCube controllers had before. So it's not a full click instantly, it's a light press and then a full click after. So it's basically 2 inputs in one. And the Z button is probably the most controversial piece for me. It doesn't fully click down. It feels a lot more like a tactile Z button modification that I would put on a normal GameCube controller, but functionally it operates the exact same. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to on how it actually feels, but it works just fine. Overall, the build quality for this controller is extremely good, and it feels amazing. Considering that you don't need a GameCube controller adapter anymore, and you can just purchase this off the Nintendo store, I see absolutely no reason to ever use an OEM controller ever again. Now, if you want to get into the specifications of modding the controller, I have no idea about that as it's brand new, but apparently modders have already started like tinkering with it, so if there's any significant updates, I'll post it in the comments of the YouTube video. Now, with all the buttons on top, you can see that the controller functions just like a Switch controller would, any other one that is, where you can play every single game that you would normally want to play with it. And you can do the classic stuff like take screenshots, whatever. It's a very versatile controller. And then you have, of course, the C button, which does the game chat feature, which is pretty interesting, I'll say that. Now let's boot up the GameCube NSO and test it out there a little bit. Fun Easter egg as well. If you hold any direction on the stick while you're booting up the GameCube app, this happens. It's Kino. If you're using a GameCube controller in the NSO app, get this cool thing where you can see in the upper left, of course, I have the GameCube controller icon, and it's making Mario Sunshine noises, and it's pretty cool. So this controller was specifically designed for this app, so of course, as you would expect, it runs seamlessly and very smooth. So let's get into some Soul Calibur here. Okay, now I have no idea how to play Soul Calibur, so I'm just gonna mash some buttons here. Everything acts as it should, and it feels, yeah, perfect. Oh, and here, if you want to go into the suspend menu, this is one usage for the new very small ZL button. So that way you can go back to your games. But yeah, it works flawlessly there. It's very good. Now I want to show off one really interesting and very unexpected to me feature that this controller kind of secretly has. Also, an interesting fact that I didn't even think to mention earlier, I'm trying to skip the Splatoon 3 news here, and I can't click in the stick. So I'm pretty sure there's no way that I can skip past this because there's no click in stick button. Anyways, here's what I find fascinating about the controller, and I'm sure you can already see. It actually has gyro motion. So it has a full-on, well-working gyro control in the controller. And if you wanted to, you could, in practice, play games like Splatoon 3 with an OEM GameCube controller. And it works great. It works exactly how you would expect it to work. I can flick onto the targets easily after not playing Splatoon for multiple months now. It's interesting, but if you wanted to do that, I mean, it does have gyro. So the controller is pretty future-proof. Another feature that it has that I found worth noting. Now, before wrapping up fully, I wanted to do one sort of like, I guess, ASMR of the controller, because it's something that I would want to know how it sounds before I actually purchase it. So I'm going to play one match of Elite Smash with the controller, just to give you a more practical, hands-on view of it, and you can see how it actually sounds. What the fuck?
2, 1, go!
So, those are my overall first impressions of this controller. Is it worth it? I would say absolutely, especially considering you don't need a GameCube adapter anymore, and you can just get this one controller. Is the build quality good? It's absolutely perfect, and this is coming from somebody that's extremely picky about build quality with GameCube controllers in specific. And yeah, if you have any other questions at all, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I will respond to them. I do read every single comment. And if you want to hang out with me live on my Twitch streams, I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/Aaron_FGC, and that will also be in the description of this video. I have much more Switch 2 stuff on the way, so please look forward to that, and thank you so much for watching.